Thanks again to everybody who's read today. Our second feature poet today, as you all know, is Anders Carlson Wee. He is the author of Disease of Kings. Looks like this. I got my copy in the mail a couple weeks ago. This brilliant book, along with Edgar's, honestly, like two of the best books of the year I've read, and honestly, two of my favorite young poets. And a young poet means you're younger than me, so like you're not that young, but like two of my favorite young poets. But it really is, like, it's a thrill to have them both here today. Super excited, love these books. Definitely check it out. So Disease of Kings came out from Norton just recently, within the past few weeks. But prior to that, Anders wrote The Low Passions, also from Norton, and that was in 2019. It was selected in New York Public Library Book Group Selection, and his first book of poems appeared in 2015 from Bull City Press, and that was titled Dynamite. That first book was a winner of the Frost, is that right? Yes, the Frost Place Chapbook Prize. His work, as most of you know, has appeared in many publications, the Paris Review, Smartish Pace, including a poem from here that appears in Smartish Pace, the Harvard Review, BuzzFeed, American Poetry Review, and many others. Anders is the recipient of fellowships from the NEA, the Poets from Poets and Writers, Breadloaf, Swanee, and the Napa Valley Writers Conference. He is also the winner of the Poetry International Prize. Anders holds an MFA from Vanderbilt University. He read for us here last in 2019, as did Edgar. I'm super excited to hear him read again. Please welcome Anders Carlson Wee.
Hey everybody, are you hearing me okay in the back? Yeah, good? Good, thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be back. Thanks Brid and Hand for having us tonight. Really a treat to read with Edgar, my best friend, and just like huge collaborator in all of these poems. So a lot of credit due to Edgar for all of this as well. This first poem is called Hired. The Grand Dam's window rolled down, but it was too dark out to see in. A hand waved me over. A voice asked if I wanted to make some quick cash. Standing right where I was standing for the next 10 minutes, simple as that. Just stand here, I said. Simple as that, the voice said, and the hand stretched out a 20. It was weirdly humiliating, doing what I was already doing. Like being told to act natural on camera and sensing that who you are is failing to entertain. 10 minutes passed. 15, 20. Hey, I'd never made so much in such little time. Never been so nervous, doing nothing. I kept needing the car to come back. Some sign it was over. A horn, a gunshot, the rising pitch of oncoming sirens. I could accept I'd never know what I'd been used for, but I wanted proof it was finished. So that's the first poem in the collection, and there's a little bit of irony to it being titled Hired, because this book follows two young men who refuse to work. And that's sort of a central thing for them. They dumpster dive for all their food and clothing and anything else they need, headlamps, camping gear, whatever. They find it in the trash, and if they need a little bit of cash, they find ways to sell the stuff that they found in the garbage. So that's kind of their lifestyle, and you're tracking them sort of pursue that life. And it sort of comes to mixed results if you want to read the story, read the whole book. This next poem is sort of a bit of an origin story for me. I sort of have a pathological frugality. It's part of my personality. And I'll say a little bit more about that as the book goes on, as the reading goes on. But this next one is kind of the story about my childhood. And if I have a question for you all. If I was going to take a cup and go to a soda fountain and fill it with all the different flavors, what would you call that drink?
Garbage can.
Suicide? Did anyone see anything else?
Garbage can.
Garbage can. Nice. Hey, that's good for this, right? So yeah, suicide is I think the most common. Garbage can. I've heard it called kamikaze. Where I grew up, we called it a graveyard. This poem is called Cups. Hovering near the line, I watch a lady order coffee and ask for a second empty cup. But once she has the cup in hand, she thinks better of it, and leaving, drops it in the trash. I know about cups. They're trees, ground to a pulp and coated with thin skins of plastic, not unlike condoms, that make recycling impossible. In 9th grade, I kept a Subway cup in my locker and cradled it each day at lunch beneath my coat as I trudged through sub-zero winds and gusting snows to the franchise, where I'd blend in with the crowd who'd already ordered, then step boldly toward the soda fountain, which was patrolled by the staff, and fill my cup with Sprite, Dr. Pepper, Mellow Yellow, Cherry Coke, making what we called a graveyard. I had the cup so long, I named him. Bathed him daily at the drinking fountain near the gym, and I never let his lip get torn or pinched. What stopped all this was Subway updating its logo. Instantly, my cup looked old and wrong, and I couldn't keep making my graveyard. Unless I was willing to switch to a new cup, which I was, and did. So that's my deranged mindset. The second capitalism helps me out, I just switch gears, get that new cup. In the first part of this book, you're following these two friends, and the speaker of the collection is basically based on me, and then his friend is named North. And these two guys are doing their little scams and hustles of like finding stuff in the trash, and then they throw fake moving sales because they're not actually moving, but they're convinced moving sales are more exciting than yard sales. So they're trying to sell some of their trash at the sales. And so they sort of have this shared worldview, but they have very different relationships to their families. And this next poem kind of draws on that. The speaker has two pastors for parents who are very loving and caring and can provide a safety net if this weird lifestyle sort of goes off the rails. Meanwhile, North not only does not have a safety net, but he's also providing for an alcoholic father. And this poem kind of draws on that. It also kind of looks at one of the ways that they're avoiding the monetary system altogether. This one's called Snow. It was the law. You had 4 hours after snowfall to get your sidewalk cleared. Our landlord hated the chore so much, he paid us $5 per inch toward rent. North shoveled. I came behind with salt that glowed in the streetlights like a second snow, as if we were unmaking and remaking the conditions. That winter, North's dad disappeared again, but this time, North didn't bother to report it. Thanksgiving passed, Christmas came and went. It's deep, but it's easy, North said one night, tossing load after load over his shoulder, the powder twisting in the sky and shushing against his coat. Each time the snow let up, we pored over weather reports, hoping for blizzards. If it keeps up like this, I said, February will be free. In March, his dad was back in town, 20 pounds lighter with no explanation, fishing for little loans. When he heard about February's good fortune, he started leaning on North. My own dad had never asked me for anything, and I wondered what it would mean to know him that way. The snow kept coming down. What are you gonna do, I said, fanning cupfuls of salt on the concrete. North shrugged. Give him February. You can't, I said. North lifted a shovelful and heaved it. Stop picturing your own dad, he said. By April, February was spent. In May, North asked if his dad could move in. He was much younger in person than North had made him seem. We gave him a closet, but soon, his shit was everywhere. This is temporary, I kept saying. Without snow, the rent outdid us. I caved and made the call. My dad covered most of the summer, treated the three of us to dinner. I'd forgotten how embarrassing it was when he offered to pray over meals. But glancing around the table, I realized everyone was grateful but me. Thank you all so much. So that's kind of some stuff from the first section of the book. When you move into section 2, North takes seasonal work fishing in Alaska. And he's sort of taking this job, partly the implication is that he's trying to make some money to provide for his father. And so he kind of faces this responsibility and heads off to Alaska to make some money. And the speaker is left behind sort of grappling with this new loneliness. Their lifestyle is so specific and they're kind of codependent on each other. So like they're pretty isolated from the rest of society. And the speaker is grappling with this loneliness, and so he's trying to figure out what to do about it, and he starts renting out North's bedroom as a bed and breakfast, as a way to get some people into his life. And so he has guests coming to stay with him, and he's having them stay there, and then in the mornings he's cooking them meals made from food he's finding in the trash, right? So that's kind of his little system, and this is kind of a way to tell you not to stay at my bed and breakfast. That's what I'm telling you right now. So take the hint. But in that section of the book, you get a series of dramatic monologues from the perspectives of the guests who have come to stay at the bed and breakfast. And this next poem is the last guest, the final guest to come and stay. He's a little bit of an unhinged character. His name is Oscar. Fuck no, she didn't leave me over money. She left me because I have no ass. It's true. The belt holds on my hips about as good as an oiled up pole dancer. That's why I invented these strapless suspenders. Can't see them, can you? Good, that's the idea. Almost went bankrupt making the prototype. My wife kept saying, what suspenders? You ain't wearing nothing. But riddle me this, are my jeans pooled at my feet? I swear, bona fide genius dumbfounds belief with simplicity. Same goes for the truth. Like if I told you, my wife left me because I got less milkshake than a garter snake, you'd say, there's gotta be more to that story. Like what? I go to work one day and come back home to no trace of her. No photos, no toothbrush, not even the carrots she raised in the garden beds. Just holes in the earth like buckshot where she plucked them free. And of course, she got custody and the house eventually, which I'll admit, I mortgaged to pay for the patent. You think that was the dagger? I mean, here I am working to cure autopantsin for the assless, and she's fussing over a little loan? Yes or no? Could I win her back if I doubled down and got those silicone implants? Fine, shake your head. But I don't think you respect how bad it is when God forgets to blow up your balloons. Hell, I'd show you. But these suspenders, they're a bitch to get back into. So that's just a little fun from Oscar. Y'all holding up okay? I got 3 more for you. Yeah, good. Poetry is treating you okay? Right on. So this book is based on my 20s. During that era of my life, I had finished high school and I knew I wanted to go into the arts. And for me, that meant I knew I would never have any money because it's not a very financially sound decision to go into the arts. So I wanted to learn how to sort of scrap for myself. So I went off to a series of wilderness survival schools and was learning skills like fire starting and shelter building, trying to get a base of skills. And somewhat ironically at those schools, I met a lot of anarchist kids who knew a lot about urban survival techniques like modern dumpster diving stuff and freight train hopping, which I ended up doing a lot of in my 20s. And I would do these long cross-country trips. And one of them, this poem's kind of coming out of, I did a 6-month trip cross-country, camping out every night, and I did that trip on $200. So that was the amount of money I was working with in my 20s. And I was living on about $3,000 a year. But that was mainly for me a way to have a lot of free time to read and write. And that's why I sort of arranged that lifestyle for myself. And one of my tricks on my travels was to hang out in diners, and then when people got up from their meals to leave, I would swoop in and eat whatever they left behind. So this poem grows out of that kind of experience. This one's called The Family. in perfect synchrony with the family, rising from the booth and laughing their way toward the door. I ditch my coffee on the counter and sliding where they've been. I wolf the father's Reuben and move to the daughter's grilled cheese. I make quick work of melted milkshakes, no looking up to see if I'm seen. And although I'm counting each second it takes to pound the leftover plates, at the end of it, I wipe my lips with a cloth napkin and linger, letting myself imagine a wife and kids gone on a trip to the bathroom. Hot water running as she scrubs Mrs. Butterworth's from their fingers, fixes their hair. The waitress comes for dishes, too involved in her own life to notice I don't have the right clothes, the right face. Yes, I say, we're finished. This next one is something I drafted before the pandemic hit, and then as I was putting the book together, I was sort of like a bit like astounded by how much I felt like the poem's content resonated with the kind of quarantine experience of the pandemic. So I hope you'll be able to like pick up on that and maybe resonate with it on that level. It also made me really like question my own lifestyle, because it was like I was writing about my own situation, and it felt like after the pandemic or like during the pandemic, I realized that this was like everyone's nightmare to like be forced into a type of quarantine. So yeah, this one's called Living Alone. Another day of not seeing anyone but the faces on TV. For company, I record my impressions of celebrities and play them back, but the voices don't sound like them and don't sound like me. I peel an orange and smell my hands. I read portions of a mystery in different rooms to make it feel like different things are happening. The longer I'm alone, the smaller a gesture could be and still console or rattle me. Strange to need so little, but to need it so badly. I step into the air conditioning of Target and ask after brands I know they carry, just to hear someone say yes. So yeah, I'll do one more for you all. Hope you all are enjoying the reading. Thank you all for listening. I know Edgar and I would both be thrilled to chat with you afterwards and sign copies of our books. And I hope everyone has chances to meet each other. You know, that's definitely always part of these types of events, just people finding new connections. If you like someone's poem, you know, share it with them. You know, hopefully everyone's meeting new people tonight. But once again, thanks for listening. This one's called Lay It Bare. I know you're hungry for it. More money, more news, desperate for any laurel that parades you as happier than you know you are. A car, a cruise, some haircut reeking so deeply of depression, no one with a nose could miss it. Making more each year, spending more. The pride of how little time you have to spare. I know I embarrass you, still living on expired food I find, dented tuna I squirrel away, spending at a pace slower than a pulse. Slow, that's what I have. I'm not happy either. I walk past bars where flush people drink, markets where I dumpster what I eat, down streets quiet enough to hush the last 10 years, parks dark enough to find Gemini, Lyra. I don't wish you were poor. I wish you were here. Thank you.